Hey everybody, it's Tyler Austin. Thank you so much for watching. So by now you are completely aware of the shit show that is Afghanistan right now, brought upon by the total incompetence of the United States government, which, I mean, unless you live under a rock, you know that the only thing that government is competent at is being wholly incompetent. But I'm not here to talk about the utter disaster that is and has been the United States foreign policy, particularly in regards to the Middle East. I'm here to talk about the complete irony that is gun control. I mean, for the last, decades, people like Biden and other politicians who are at best nothing more than a complete and utter waste of oxygen have been running around saying that you, the average American citizen, neither need nor are responsible enough to own things like AR 15s or other semi automatic firearms or just firearms in general for that matter. Right? These same politicians, these same waste of oxygen politicians who say these things are the same people who just got done leaving literally thousands, tens of thousands of weapons to the Taliban, along with other military equipment as well. I mean, so let's go ahead and take a look at some of these pictures that are floating around the internet of these cavemen displaying the weaponry that our government has left behind for them. So here we go. We have these three dinks over here. Two of them are holding what appear to be Remington 700 sniper rifles, if you will. And you got some more Remington 700s down here, along with a complete wall of M4s. You got this dink over here holding what appears to be a Browning heavy machine gun, which, by the way, you cannot, at least generally speaking, you cannot legally own this in the United States as an American citizen because the government feels like that you are not responsible enough to own this. However, apparently they feel like that this dink over here is responsible enough to own this. I mean, considering they gave it to him for free. Whole bunch of sniper rifles left behind, bunch of M4s here, this heavy machine gun left behind. Let's go ahead and take a look at some more pictures. Here's a few pictures of just literally piles of weapons that the United States government left behind for the Taliban. A whole bunch of just hundreds, maybe even thousands of M4s and probably some M16s in there, just left behind for the Taliban. Here's another picture. Here we just have a massive stockpile of what appears to be mostly squad automatic weapons. So these are belt fed machine guns, which, again, you, generally speaking, as a United States citizen, cannot legally own in the United States. But apparently, the United States government, the same government, feels that the Taliban are perfectly responsible enough to own these because they just left literally thousands of them for free to these cavemen. Here we have another picture of literally just a room practically filled to the ceiling full of weapons, mostly M4s, but you have some belt feds in there too, some PKMs, along with a whole bunch of other gear, body armor, vests, and whatnot. Again, just left for the Taliban. Here, just another picture of, again, Taliban holding our weapons. We got some M16s in there, along with some M4s. The most telling thing is not necessarily even the weaponry, but the fact that they have their fingers off the trigger, which, if you know anything about the Taliban, if you've served overseas, you know that Taliban generally don't do this unless that they are American trained, which, the fact that these guys have their fingers off the trigger tells you that not only did the government feel the need to arm these people, but at some point in the past that they trained them. So either CIA or Defense Department, whatever, at some point that they trained these Taliban to handle these weapons more effectively. But hey, at least this guy on the right here is wearing a mask because, if you're a Taliban in Kabul, the biggest thing you have to worry about is the COVID. Moving on, we have another picture. This one's been pretty popular. It's been running around the internet. Again, on the right, you have some guys displaying American weaponry. But again, the most telling thing here is the fact that they have their fingers off the trigger. So not only were these guys also armed with our own weaponry, again, left behind by our own government, they were at some point in the past trained by our American government, either CIA, Defense Department, whatever. Again, the same government, the same politicians who run around saying that you are not responsible enough to own AR-15s or really any other type of firearm are the same politicians who left thousands, potentially tens of thousands of weapons of AR-15 style of rifles, belt-fed machine guns, heavy machine guns, along with a whole bunch of other type of military equipment, from vehicles to body armor to night vision equipment, etc., etc. They just left this stuff basically for free to the Taliban. But again, you're not responsible enough to own these, according to them. This is also the same government, by the way, who just a few years ago under the Obama administration literally sold thousands of weapons to Mexican drug cartels who are, at least arguably more violent than these cavemen here. So really, in reality, the only people who should be barred from owning any type of weaponry is government. They have proved time and time again that they are truly the ones who are not responsible enough to own firearms. Again, imagine if you got caught selling weapons to terrorists, the Taliban, Mexican drug cartels. Imagine how long they'd throw you in prison for. Yet these politicians can do this without repercussion. And they have done it without repercussion, obviously. So, again, the only people who are not responsible enough to own firearms is the United States government, or really any government for that matter. Remember that next time you have some waste of oxygen politician get up on stage and proclaim that you, as a American citizen, are not responsible, nor do you need to own things such as AR-15s or other types of firearms. Again, these are the same people who arm terrorists abroad, train terrorists abroad, arm Mexican drug cartels without repercussion, without consequence.